Rolling action.
Okay, guys. You've heard me talk before about the Epicurean religion of humanity, which is the religiosity of our age. We're in a post-Christian society, we're in a post-Christian world. So the question is, what is the religion that people are following today? It's certainly not Christianity. So what is it? It is an Epicurean religion of humanity. A religion of this world, a religion of this life. And don't doubt for 1 second that people are every bit as religious now as they have ever been in the past. It's just that the nature of their religion has changed. The topic of their religion has changed. And this new religiosity erupted into Europe in the 1700s and was particularly expressed in two revolutions, the French Revolution and the American Revolution. And the catchphrases of these two revolutions, the French Revolution was liberté, fraternité and égalité, and the catchphrase of the American Revolution was life, liberty and the pursuit of happiness. Do these concepts sound familiar to you? Do these values sound familiar to you? I'm going to give you a Christian criticism of this religion. I'm going to give you a Christian criticism of liberal modernity and the Epicurean religion of humanity. And we're going to start by looking at the modern progressive idea of freedom. Because both in the French Revolution and in the American Revolution, one of their key values was this idea of freedom. What does freedom look like if you're a liberal progressive? Freedom is the replication of choices. That you should be free to choose whatever and however you live your life, unencumbered by ideology, unencumbered by religion or by theology, unencumbered by an oppressive government. That was the understanding that the American revolutionaries and the French revolutionaries gave to their idea of liberty. Now, my first criticism of that is that it was a total lie from the beginning. Because the reality is that at the birth of the French Revolution and at the birth of the American Revolution, they didn't get rid of an opposing, controlling ideological framework. They simply replaced the controlling ideological framework from your religion and theology to the idea of the nation state. If you were a threat to the French Republic, it was off to the guillotine. If you were a threat to the American state, it was off to the firing squad or to prison. The reality is that at no point was freedom from a controlling ideology or worldview ever achieved at the French Revolution or at the American Revolution. The second point of this is that, particularly in the United States, slavery continued. Slavery continued for all those who were black in the United States. They never achieved their freedom. So at the very beginning of the birth of our modern world was a lie. The lie that this revolution would give you freedom. And we still persist in living in that lie. We still think that we are free. And why do we think that we are free? Why? Because you have a multiplicity of the same choices. You get to choose which house you buy. You get to choose which soap conditioner you buy. You get to choose what clothes you wear. And so an illusion of freedom is given to you. But within the Christian worldview, we do not associate freedom with the idea of choice. Freedom is not connected to choice. True freedom comes with knowledge of the truth. The more truth you know, the more truth you embody, the freer you actually are. This is one of the fundamental contrasts between the liberal progressive world view and the Christian worldview, is that Christians connect freedom to knowledge of the truth. And that knowledge is built in and seen in and embodied by Jesus Christ, who said, I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life. Because the best kind of life, is the one built in relationship to and upon the person of Jesus Christ. Now, ladies and gentlemen, ignore the trolls. The trolls only come because if they speak on their own, no one ever listens to them. So they behave like this because they're slightly disturbed and because no one will listen to them otherwise. Don't feed them your attention. Stay focused on the topic. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the second great thing that the French Revolution promised was the idea of fraternité. Now, what did they mean by fraternité at the French Revolution? They meant the idea of brotherhood. But brotherhood of who? If you look at it within its historical context, the idea of fraternity was a military concept. And I'm going to invite you to step closer, ladies and gentlemen, because I don't want to have to shout to you right at the back because we've got a local troll. So move closer so you can hear what I'm saying. The French Revolution, its idea of fraternity, brotherhood, was amongst revolutionaries, i.e. those that beheld the concepts of the revolution, and particularly its soldiers, were in brotherhood, that they would give freedom to one another because of their brotherhood as soldiers of the revolution.
How did that work out?
And we see in our modern world the idea that is evolved from that. The idea that we are all citizens of the same nation state, regardless of our religion, regardless of our ethnicity, and regardless of our class.
That's not true.
That is the idea that was promised by the French Revolution and fraternity. Could one of you guys get me a bottle of water? Now, ladies and gentlemen, as Christians, we can celebrate the idea of equality under the law. Why? Because it is a Christian idea that is over 2,000 years old. You can find the idea of treating people as equals under the law in the Old Testament, where it says that you should not treat the alien different to yourself, the Jews, under the Mosaic law. However, for the Christian, true brotherhood can only reside in the church. We do not believe in, nor can we practice, the idea of brotherhood as citizens. And why not? Because as Christians, we believe that we are people under a covenant, under a contract, if you will, under God. We are united to one another because of our covenant relationship with one another. In other words, as Christians, we have an exclusive brotherhood within the church that is more important than any sense of citizenship. And that means, ladies and gentlemen, that when our brothers and sisters are being persecuted in a foreign land, like they are in Pakistan, like they are in Nigeria, like they are in Malaysia and Indonesia, Burma, Saudi Arabia, Iran, North Korea, China, India, Nepal. We Christians owe more allegiance
Full of shit.
to our brothers and sisters around the world than we do to the nation state. And if,
Are you
following
Protestant?
that brotherhood,
And would you be
we
facing
upset
all
the
religions?
politics of our home nation state, then we must chuck the politics of the nation state under the bin.
So carry on.
Instead, what we must do is we must prioritize the church above all.
Christ, I'm anti-bullshit.
Brothers and sisters, don't feed the troll. You're only distracting people. If you talk to him, please ignore the troll.
You silly girl.
Guys,
Why are you so
the reason why you have these trolls behave like this is because no one ever listens to them when they talk, so they simply try to hijack another crowd. If you talk to him, you encourage him, let him heckle, it's Speaker's Corner, he has the right to. Stay focused on the topic. The second point that the American Revolution offers is the idea of life. How does life get framed in the American Constitution? How does Thomas Jefferson and his group of 5 frame the idea of life in the American Constitution? Life is linked to this world. The fulfillment of your own happiness in this world is what the American Constitution offers as part of the American dream. James Truslow in 1931 phrased it like this. He said, "Life should be better and richer and fuller for everyone, with opportunity for each according to ability or achievement." In other words, ladies and gentlemen, it is about your success in this life measured by wealth and personal happiness. That is the American dream. That is the liberal concept of happiness. We Christians reject that. We Christians mock that. We Christians scoff that. And why? Because if you build your happiness in this life, your life will be empty and meaningless. Your value is not dictated by how much money you have in the bank or how happy you feel. True life is something you experience when you build your life on the truth. Because it is the truth that sets you free so that you might have life and have it to the full. Why? Because when you understand true meaning in your life, when you understand what it is to live a life of purpose, a life of value, then even in your poverty, you can have peace. Even in your loneliness, you can have peace. Even in your suffering, you can have peace, the peace of God. And thus, your life can be fulfilled in Jesus Christ. Not in following the lies of the American Constitution. Not in following the lies of a liberal state. The pursuit of happiness was understood by Thomas Jefferson as the ability to own and buy property. And that's what we think life is about. The material world. We measure one another by how much we own or how wealthy we are. We measure ourselves in the same way. But, ladies and gentlemen, Christ offers a better way of happiness, a better way of peace, in knowing that the value of your life comes from the fact that you are made in the image of God and that you were created to live to the glory of God. And that is not decided by whether you are rich or poor, whether you are able-bodied or disabled, whether you are single or married or have children or do not have children. True life comes from knowing who you are. Brothers, please stop feeding the troll. You are not helping. Control yourself. Ignore the troll.
Don't ignore me. I want friends.
Finally, ladies and gentlemen, my final point before I take questions.
Sit down.
The final point before I take questions is the third point of the French Revolution. The idea of égalité, or the idea of equality. It sounds wonderful in principle. However, and as a legal concept, it is worthwhile. But the reality is that not all belief systems, not all cultures, not all ideas are equal. Female genital mutilation as a culture is not the equal of cultures that do not practice female genital mutilation. Ideologies of apartheid, like that practiced in America up to the 1960s, or that practiced in South Africa, or that practiced by Islam even today, are not equal to ideologies that give equality under the law. And thus, those ideas do not deserve protection under the law. It is right and proper to discriminate against bad ideas. We Christians are not wishy-washy liberals, and we do not believe in giving space to evil ideas to the detriment of man. And that includes the religious cult of the self that we have seen erupt in our culture through the transgender ideology, which or its abortion sacrifices in abortion mills that have killed thousands of babies, in which today you can be arrested and prosecuted for thinking. Literally, it has happened this year that people have been arrested for thinking that abortion is wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, I call you to something better than liberalism. I call you to free yourselves from liberalism and enter into a covenant with the people of God, His holy church. Reject liberalism in Europe, reject liberalism in the United Kingdom, and follow Christ as His true disciples. Any questions, ladies and gentlemen?
Hey, uncle!
Hallelujah!
Uncle with a brown jacket.
Any questions?
Now's your chance. Now's your chance, uncle! Uncle,
Yes, I want to ask a question. What is copied from Bible
On the topic, Uncle.
and put into the Quran?
Okay, on topic. Any questions on the topic?
Any questions?
No, you're a good answer question.
Any questions?
When
You don't
is
need to
Jesus
ask.
Coming?
Can I say wonderful job, yeah? God bless
When
you.
is
Peace be with you, brother.
Jesus
Yeah,
coming?
I know you from a long time ago. Yeah, I'm from
When
Romania.
is
but
Thanks be to
Jesus
God.
Amazing.
coming?
God
Two of my
bless you.
biggest heroes are from Romania.
Yeah, no, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job.
Vlad Tepest is a hero. Any questions, ladies and gentlemen?
When is
questions?
Jesus coming?
Uncle, any questions?
Shame on you.
Any questions?
Jono,
Yes.
Yeah,
it would be better to ask a question than engage this guy. Any questions? Or are we moving on to the next topic?
Why didn't your parents practice safe sex?
Any questions, ladies and
Yes.
gentlemen, on the topic?
What time is your husband
Okay.
expecting you back home for lunch?
So, ladies and gentlemen, if there are no questions, I'm going to move on to my next topic.
No, please don't have a rest until what? Next year.
Until when?
Jono, do you want to help? Do you want to help?
You know there's a cost of
Do you wanna
living
help?
crisis. We're
Yeah.
all depressed.
Will you help find the
Last thing
verses?
We need is you.
What verse is looking for?
Oh,
We all chip in and give you a tenner.
Right.
You promise to leave the park.
actually, I'll start off and then I'll tell you which verse to find next. Yep. Okay, ladies and gentlemen,
They're not listening.
this is a separate talk, JC. Kurt